Welcome to another video, guys. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most important champions on anybody's account, which is obviously none other than Arbiter. I'm going to do my best to explain how you should be playing her, how you should be building her, her masteries, relics, blessings, and anything in between, so you guys really know how to get the most out of yours. So if you find the video helpful, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget you can check me out live on stream each Tuesday and Thursday for free account takeovers, and also if you're thinking about starting yourself a new account, use my download link to get yourself tons of extra rewards, as well as in your first 24 hours you can also use a promo code to get an extra legendary. But now let's get into the video. Arbiter is a pure speed lead, and she is the first really good arena champion you're going to be unlocking yourself even as soon as 3 months into the game if you really know how to get the missions done quick, and she really is super important for anybody's account. With her help you will be able to unlock great haul bonuses a lot quicker because your arena fights are just going to be a lot more successful and quick. The Arbiter missions definitely ain't no joke, but they're also not that hard, so you really need to concentrate on them even as soon as you start so you can get her ASAP, and I've seen people do it even as soon as 3 months into the game without breaking too much sweat. So make sure to prepare early and read through all of those missions so you know how to get her quick as well. If you already have Arbiter, however, you need to realize this is going to be one of the best arena champions you're going to be having for quite a while. For me, this is still my best speed lead by far, and even though I do have tons of legendary champions, I still to this day not have a better champion than Arbiter on my account that does this much speed lead, and look at how many legendaries I have, guys, so this really says a lot. Arbiter is just built different. She is a void legendary as well, so you definitely do need to treat her as one of your best champions, if not the best champions on your account for quite a long time. The reason why Arbiter is really important is basically because she is an insane speed lead, guys. She gives you 30% turn meter fill with her A3, and not only that, but she also gives 20% extra turn meter with her A4, which she does indeed have an A4, which is kind of rare for champions, but yes, she does that. But yeah, going through her skills, let's start with the A1. She does attack one enemy 2 times, and each hit has a 30% chance of placing 25% weaken, that books out to a 50% chance, but for this to be happening, you will need a little bit of accuracy on her. This is a pretty decent skill. This way she also has a chance of pushing a little bit of turn meter back for opponents if you build her masteries right, so this can be pretty awesome. On the A2, she does have an AoE attack that has 100% chance of decreasing the duration of any of all enemy buffs by 1 turn, which is a pretty good skill to be having, especially since this is going to be bulletproof against things like polymorph, because you're only decreasing duration, you're not stripping or anything like that, so this would be pretty cool, but again, this does require a little bit of accuracy in order for it to be consistent. On the A3, like I said, this is the really important skill you're going to be opening 99% of the time against arena teams, and it does fill your turn meter of all allies by 30%, but there are a few things people probably haven't noticed. For starters, increase attack, you already probably noticed, it's very important if you have attack-based nukers, but she also has heal allies by 25% of their max HP, but here's the important part, they need to already be less than 50% HP. I still remember I ignored reading my skills fully for quite a while, and I was like, why is my Arbiter not healing? Well, your champions are not under 50% yet. So yes, this is pretty cool, and it does book out to a 3 turn cooldown, which is pretty awesome. On the A4, she revives all dead allies with 30% HP, and then fills the turn meters of all allies by 20%. Don't get mistaken, this turn meter fill happens even if you don't revive anybody, so this is yet another turn meter fill this champion has for your team, and also if you indeed do revive a champion, you are getting yourself an extra turn, so you could again maybe even cycle into your A3 again, so that would be a grand total of 50% extra turn meter boost, which is kinda insane. Something odd I have noticed though, sometimes even though my champion's turn meter is already full and I use the A4, and some opponents still actually take turn before me. If anybody can explain that in the comments, that'd be awesome, and no, I did pay attention, it wasn't some supersonic BS or anything like that, so I don't even know what that was, but it is definitely kinda weird. Anyway, the good stuff doesn't stop here. She also has an insane aura, and probably the biggest aura you're gonna have on your account for a very long time, which is increases ally speeds in arena battle by 30%. Like, not very many champions give this high amount of increased speed for everybody. Like, I do have Odin, which does give 40%, but only the void champions, and we do have the mythical Carnage that does give 33% in arena battles, but for just a legendary champion, albeit a void, this is a very high arena aura, which is gonna be very nice for most of you. Anyway, enough about that, let's talk about the build. And with Arbiter, if you're gonna be using her for PvP, you gotta concentrate on speed, guys. You cannot be concentrating on accuracy. Heck, you can't even concentrate on resistance resistance as much. She is not, her role is to boost your team nice and fast, so you have the biggest chance of actually starting first the proper way. So what does this mean? Anything speed goes for her. Like, you gotta be as quick as you possibly can. You can see I actually did my Arbiter quite well at this point. She was pretty slow not too long ago, but I did rebuild her a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and I managed to squeeze in 414 speed on her. She was actually 408 this morning, but I managed to swap out a couple of items, and now she is sporting a nice healthy 414. I've seen people even have 450, heck, even close to 500 nowadays. It's actually not impossible at all with the legendary glyphs, with the relics and everything in between. It is actually a lot easier to build tons and tons of speed in today's day and age, but still 414, definitely respectable. So yeah, you really want to concentrate on speed, but a little bit of accuracy and heck, a little bit of resistance cannot really hurt, and HP and defense can also be decent on her, so she can actually live long enough to maybe revive a few champions. But it really comes down to speed, and then you have accuracy, resistance, HP, defense. Like, speed is king at 100%, and everything else becomes from 50% and lower as priority. Like, it all comes down to what is your fastest item on the account. But still, it won't hurt if you actually get her about, like, let's say 200, 250 accuracy would be helpful, but that really doesn't happen all that hard, especially if you're using things like feral accessories, things like pinpoint accessories, and if you build her in a couple of perception, that would also not be the worst idea in the world. But again, concentrate on that speed first. The boot is obviously gonna have to be a speed boot, and do your best to give her an ascended speed boot with extra 12 speed. That would be absolutely brutal. And the sets you're looking for here would be the classic speed set would be fine, but you could also be using the divine speed, and for me divine speed has actually been rolling quite well. I do have myself a triple speed roll on a 6-star item, pretty decent. This glyph definitely can do better, but still pretty decent set to be using. But even just the vanilla speed set is just as good, because divine speed, that 15% extra HP shield really doesn't do much. Heck, in some cases even against Narcies it could be a problem for you. Another set you could be using would be the impulse set, which again gives plus 12% speed, and the extra 12 chance to reduce a random skill's cooldown by 1 turn definitely also ain't no joke. If you don't have anything quicker than that, you could also opt for perception, couple of pieces for that 5% extra speed. It's not the worst, and the 40 accuracy also not bad, and that usually is it for the top half if we're building her for arena. You can't really go around building her in stone skin, you can't really go around building her in a chronophage or pinpoint or whatever. It has to be speed, because she really does need to be quick. For the chest, you could go with defense percent, you could go over HP percent for the main stat. Accuracy would be great, resistance would be great, but most importantly, you gotta get a sub-speed high roll speed stat. Here I only have a triple roll with not the biggest bestest rune, but still I tried my best to give her at least 7, it's something. On the sub stats again, you could be looking for HP, for defense, for resistance, for accuracy, that kind of stuff. On the glove, again, as fast as possible on the sub stats. For the main stat, it could be either HP or defense, but heck, it could even be a flat stat, guys. Even if it's a flat stat, if you get something like a quad roll on speed, that is your glove. Make no mistake. And on the top half, you can't really look for anything on the main stats, obviously, so again, speed is king. If you have resistance, HP percent, defense percent, or accuracy on the side, that'd be perfect. Same can be said for all of the others, except for the weapon, obviously. The weapon cannot have defense percent, but still, getting a little bit of accuracy, resistance, HP percent would go a long way. And here, look at this beautiful weapon, triple speed roll with a max legendary glyph right there. Alas, I do not have insane 6-star quad rolls, especially on a speed set. It is what it is. On the accessories, you're gonna see my freaking banner actually is a flat attack, guys. This is obviously not ideal. Would have been much better if this was something like resistance or accuracy, or heck, even defense or HP would have been better, but just because I rolled triple speed, that is the main reason why we have this banner on, and also because it's from the feral set, this actually allows me to combo off with one of my main pieces. As you see, a couple of my main pieces are actually broken sets. They're not exactly broken, but they're also not perfect either. For instance, this perception chest, it doesn't have anything to combo off with, whereas at least this feral set piece combos off with the banner, and boom, that gave me 5% extra speed, which is definitely good. For the other two items, we opted for a couple of pinpoints, mainly because it does give the 10% extra speed, so getting yourself extra speed from items that are not supposed to give speed definitely is perfect. Fun fact, however, I could actually swap this out with something like chronophage, but the real fun fact here would be if you have 3 pieces of protection set, you're gonna get even more speed out of your accessories this way, which would be 12%, but for this to happen, you need to get get a really good speed banner out of protection, which is a lot easier said than done. Like, I myself don't have anything with 6-star above 1 freaking roll so far. I mean, it could triple roll if I level it up, but I'm not doing that right now. But this is only gonna work if already your top half is looking perfect. Technically speaking, if I do swap a couple of these artifacts right now and I had a good chest from protection, this would have given me 2% more speed, which is just 2 and something speed. Definitely not worth it, but it is definitely something to think about. With nowadays accessories, you can definitely be a lot more flexible. There is actually a lot more speed in your accessories than ever before, especially with the inclusion of the Chronophage set, which I wouldn't build for the set bonus or anything like that, but the 10% speed definitely is as worth it as the pinpoint is, and getting yourself resistance on her definitely ain't no joke. Like we said, she does need accuracy for her to be landing her weaken, and also she does need accuracy for her to be landing her buff duration decrease, and she also would love to get a little bit of resistance if you're trying to actually resist some nuker debuffs like stuns, like petrification, spheres, that kind of stuff, but you're really not gonna be able to resist things like Armanzes or Fabians or anything like that, because those nowadays are getting built with 800 plus accuracy, and you're never gonna get yourself 800 resistance on your Arbiter with anywhere near this close of speed. Moving down to the Blessing, I would definitely go for Intimidating Presence if I have a pretty good ascension on her. I actually did buy myself the 6-star for 300 big soul coins not too long ago, and I couldn't be happier. This makes my Intimidating Presence extremely powerful. It also gives plus 15 speed straight out for the 6 stars, but also strengthening my team aura with 35%. That's 35% out of that 30, makes my aura literally go above 500 speed for Arbiter. Not only that, but she also weakens the enemy team's aura by 20%, which is absolutely phenomenal. But there are other good options you could be giving for Arbiter. For instance, Polymorph. Polymorph did used to be the king of Arena not too long ago, but nowadays with the relics and whatnot, definitely not as OP, but that would also be a valid option, I guess. I don't think Lightning Cage would be taking the cake here for me, so yeah, I would definitely be sticking with my Intimidating Presence for now. Not to mention using this with Odin, which gives 40% to my Void champions, would be even stronger, because that's gonna be even a bigger aura to be increasing by 35%. On the relics, this is where things start getting interesting. As you guys see, I got myself a lucky Volcardiac heart? Volcardiac? Damn, that's definitely a word. And it is a very, very good relic to be having on Arbiter, even though I'm not sure if she should be the one having this, because this relic does not give speed, but it definitely does give some very insane stuff, including tons of resistance, good amount of HP, a little bit of defense, and also placing 10% magma shield on all allies for 2 turns definitely ain't no joke, especially since this also gives the 10% magma shield buff on the wearer for 2 turns whenever they lose 25% of their HP in a single hit. My Arbiter, as you saw, can definitely take a hit, so this shield should be popping out here and there, and it's not gonna be a 10%, it's gonna be 18, because I did level it up quite a lot, so she's gonna have a much harder time actually dying from nukers, which is pretty cool. On the gemstones, I gave her a couple of classic turn meter increase effects, are 10% more effective on the wearer, because she does turn meter boost herself as well, so that definitely ain't bad. I gave her this square socket gemstone, so people also have a harder time killing her, receiving 5 less damage definitely ain't bad. And we also have this other gem on her, which is pretty awesome. Like, comboing off all of these gems at once really makes her a force to be reckoned with, and if somebody is trying to kill her, they're gonna have a lot harder time than they actually fought. If the wearer loses 20 or more % HP of their max HP from a single attack, the next hit received will deal 20% less damage. So if somebody is really trying to snipe off my Arbiter, it's gonna take him a couple of extra hits most probably. And moving down to her Masteries, we have something pretty standard for her, giving her a little bit of accuracy out of this. This one also gives a little bit of accuracy, even though a lot of the times it won't. This also gives us extra accuracy when we need it. With Rapid Response, she also has a chance to get herself even more extra turn meter boost, which also gets amplified a little bit thanks to her sockets we used. We definitely want to get Lore of Steel here. This increases the base stats bonuses from artifacts, so this definitely gives her a good amount of extra speed. The Evil Eye is the reason her A1 is so good, being a double hitter. With this thing, you are going to have a chance of actually decreasing the turn meter of the champions you're slapping with, and that's by 20% since this thing is indeed a single hitter. Getting yourself extra 24 speed when your idiots are dead is also pretty cool, because you are going to have a bigger shot at actually reviving them back. We also have 30% chance to extend duration, so you can get your increased attack a little bit longer, and also we do have this thing, Timely Intervention, so you have a chance of actually reviving back your champions and healing them back with the A3 potentially. On the defense tree, we basically just take the standard stuff, so you're a little bit tankier. We went with the defense so we can have access to the decreased damage from AoE attacks by 5%. We also decrease damage taken if we're stunned or something like that. We also have a chance of removing a random debuff, which could be helpful to get her out of CC. Reducing the damage from a specific champion is also ain't no joke. And last but not least, we also have a chance of increasing turn meter by 15% when an ally is attacked with a critical hit, which is pretty cool. Everything we talked about so far was for PvP, so if you're thinking about using your Arbiter for PvE instead, you are definitely gonna probably want to increase her accuracy a little bit, but it really comes down to the type of content you want to be using her. For instance, she could be brilliant in things like Hydra, but depending on the difficulty you want to be fighting, that is gonna matter what kind of accuracy you want to be bringing if you want to be having a chance to be landing the decreased duration of enemy buffs, as well as the chance of landing weakened. For the hardest difficulty of Hydra, you need something like 350 accuracy, so mine is actually ready for that because I do have myself some area bonuses active there as well. But for you it might be different, so you might want to swap out some speedy chest or banner for a little bit of extra accuracy, and you should be right as rain. Anyway, I guess I can just show her real quick in a arena battle or two, but really nothing that important to show off here. Like, she is just a pretty standard champion, nothing really to explain, but look at how fast we're gonna be here. Like, look at my turn meter right now, and look at the enemies. His Mikage is the fastest after us. We're sporting something like 500 plus speed right now thanks to the Odin aura, because thanks to Arbiter's blessing we increase Odin to something like 50% increase, so in all reality we're well above 600 speed right now. Anyway, we always start with the A3, unless we're against a Torment, in which case we might actually decide not to. That gives us the increase attack, obviously, which brings our second fastest champion into play, which would be my Odin, which helps big time in controlling the opponents, stripping their buffs and all of that stuff, and now my Marius can just waltz in and basically do the delete. Nothing really too hard. Here's a fellow 6-star Arbiter against us. I still believe mine should be quicker than his, but let's see. Judging by the rest of his champions, I do believe my account should be more stacked than his, but look at that. We're even slower than his Arbiter, guys, and let's see if we're gonna manage to recover. Probably not. I won't really be touching his Leorius with my Odin, because if I give him the Berserk buff, that would be a hell of a big no-no. I instead would try to turn meter push his Arbiter, and I managed. You guys saw that decrease turn meter, and now let's hope for my Marius to actually drop Enfeeble on his Leorius, because if that didn't happen, we would have been in deep, deep trouble. Okay, his Arbiter does another buff. My Odin gives buffs, good stuff, but so this is looking pretty scary. Getting lockout by his War Leader definitely ain't no joke. Okay, his Arbiter did have a decent amount of accuracy indeed. Sadly, I don't think we're going to be taking this one home. Nope, not even close. Let's see, Leorius does the delete here probably. There he goes. Yeah, kind of shocking that his Arbiter was stronger than ours, but he was also at a 6-star blessing, so that was not the biggest surprise for the day. This one, for instance, I'm pretty sure we should be able to take care of, even though he does have what's his face here, which could lock us out, but still, let's give it a good old try. Okay, he did not manage to lock us out, and look at how faster my Arbiter is compared to his guys. Like, his turn meter is nowhere near filled. We are very, very quick here. There we go, now my Odin goes into play. And it's important for your nukers to also not be too slow here from your Arbiter, because Arbiter does buff them with 30% turn meter. So if your fastest nuker is something like 200 and your Arbiter is sporting above 400, well, it's not going to be a very clean combo. Your nuker needs to be following up nice and close so they can actually do their thing before the enemy managed to cut in line for you. One thing I forgot to mention was for the relics. I wanted to talk about other relics you could be using here. Like, I'm not expecting everybody to have a freaking mythical relic nice and ready, but a lot of people did manage to get themselves Wand of Submission, which is a very, very good thing you could be using on your Arbiter, because this is gonna make her a lot harder to control, especially if you manage to put in a few levels into it. Like a 5-star Wand of Submission gives you 45% 100% chance of reflecting any CC, and it also is gonna give you, I think, 9 speed, which is definitely pretty valid. You could be using all sorts of different speed relics on Arbiter just for the sake of getting yourself a little bit of extra speed, and you could be searching for such relics on your account thanks to this thing. Like for instance this, if you manage to bring all the way up to 15, could make some sense. I really wouldn't go this far though, wasting so much basalts to get demonic effigy leveled up, but it is something to think about. It will give you free speed at the end, and it does make a little bit of sense, even without it being on 15, for it to be giving you a chance to revive your idiots nice and quick. Anything that gives speed on the 3rd would be a little bit too far for my liking, so you're definitely not going to be going for something like this thing for extra damage. This thing is also way too down the road. Same with this thing. The Gilded Pinion we got not that long ago does make some sense. If you level this thing up, it is going to give you 3, only at level 9, 6 on 12, and 9 on 15 if I'm not mistaken, but it's definitely not ideal. And if we're looking for other relics that don't have speed on them, something anybody should have would be the book. This book would be pretty awesome for most people that are just getting their hands on Arbiter. It does have a circle socket on it, so you could be putting yourself the invigorated socket. And also it does increase the healing as well as the turn meter increase effects applied to allies. And if you level it up to level 3, that is gonna be 21% better turn meter boost on that 30%. It's not gonna be super quicker, but it is definitely gonna be a little bit better than what it used to be. Another relic you could consider would be the Golden Elixir. This way you might be somewhat annoying for some opponents, but yeah, you basically got the picture. Anything that helps your Arbiter become quicker, more efficient at turn meter boosting or reviving, or just anything that makes her hard to kill would be definitely a pretty good idea on her. So yeah guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I really hope you found it helpful, and do let me know in the comments how fast is your Arbiter, and maybe even do you have some tips for mine. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you feel like I've earned your subscription, and don't forget to check me out live on stream each Tuesday and Thursday for free account takeovers so I can help you become even better in Raid. Download the game from my download link if you want to start Raid the right way and get yourself tons of amazing loot. Thanks for watching. I'm Crystal5, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.